Bitcoin's price action looked like it wants to crack $58,000. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with the technical analysis to see where we could end up. We've been tracking ETFs for the last 2 or so weeks, so we're going to understand where we've been and where we've come to at this point. Then we're going to get into a Yahoo Finance news story and a CSNBC interview to see how the mainstream media is covering Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole. Then we're going to wrap it up on when you're doing research on cryptocurrency, what to look out for as far as scam comments and understanding if something is news or advertisement. What's good? Welcome back to another episode of Where the Money At. We on episode 60, and you know we keeping it rocking and rolling. And if you like the information we dropping, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button because you know how we coming. So let me share my screen and let's get right into it. So let me refresh CoinGecko here. We have Bitcoin sitting right at $57,000, up 11% in the last 7 days. We have Ethereum sitting at $32.50. That is crazy. Finally cracking 3,000. We have BNB 395, right at that 400 mark. Solana at 108 and XRP at 58 cents. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to look at as far as the chart is the 200-day EMA. We're on the daily chart and we have the EMA pulled up. This is the 200-day EMA. So as we've seen in the past, once you get above it, like back in October of 2020, once you get above it, you're really above it and the price tends to stay above it. But once you're below it, like we came around in April 2022, you really get below it. We may have some chop at the ultimate peak or the ultimate trough of price action, but as far as moving along, it seems to be pretty solid. So it seems like we're really above it, and it's looking like we have more momentum to go up. Now, I drew this little upward price channel just to, see where we were going, and it looks like we bounced directly off of it at $50,000 and came all the way up to $57,000. So let's look at the order blocks, and the order blocks are simply where there's a lot of buying and selling pressure. Now, I was looking at it, and I was like, man, the next spot we have to go to is the all-time highs of 66,000 and 70,000. But I looked again and I'm like, well, we really had a lot of action around here. So let's delete this one. So we really had a lot of action around here. And when I say that, let's zoom in. I say that because when we blasted through it to touch 65,000, we came down and we turned 60,000 into resistance right here and we came below it. Then when we blasted above it to reach a new all-time high at 70,000, we came down again and we used 60,000 again as resistance. So that may be our next point of resistance, but anything past that, we're reaching all-time high territories. And it's crazy because we are only, let's see, we're only 20% away from our all-time highs, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, you guys know I was predicting that we'd have some sideways to downward action, which proves I don't know what I'm talking about. But I didn't see this coming because I was expecting a parabolic move to an all-time high like previously. I was expecting a parabolic move to all-time highs like last time, but it's looking like now it could be a slow creep up. So that makes me question: is Bitcoin turning into like the S&P 500? Like, let's look at it on the weekly. Like, it's always been a progressive, slow creep up on the way. Is Bitcoin now turning into the S&P 500? Like, is that what we're doing? It's going to be so interesting to see how it plays out. And that's why I try to keep my investment strategy simple. None of this is financial advice. I just take a little bit of money every month and put it into the coins that I like, put it into the projects that I've done my research on and I like. I'm not trying to get in and out of the market. I'm not trying to be a trader. I'm trying to treat this asset class with respect because at the end of the day, that's what everybody in this community wants. We want everybody in the world to treat it with respect. So as investors, as the early people into it, we have to treat it with respect. So with that being said, let's get into the ETF news. Now, we've been covering ETFs for a little while, and we started tracking them maybe a month ago, but let's look back at February 15th and see where we are today. Let's go back. So as far as on the 15th, we got IBIT, which is the iShares Bitcoin Trust, it was $29.52. Today it's $32.69. It went from 5.6 billion assets under management to $6.6 billion asset under management. It jumped a whole $1 billion in 12 days. Now, I am new to the ETF space, and that's why we're tracking this, because we're trying to become more versed in it and try to understand it and spend time around it. Because I don't know if $1 billion in 12 days is good. I mean, that looks like a 20-something% jump, but I think $1 billion is good to me. So I think these are some things we should watch out for. It went from $5.4 billion in market cap to $7.4 billion in market cap. That's ridiculous. GBTC went from $46.18 to $51. It went up roughly $500,000 in assets under management, and it went from $23.7 billion in market cap to $25.4 billion. So as the price of Bitcoin rises, so are these ETFs. So I think it's a whole new market for us to start watching and checking out to see if we want to invest any of our money into it. But I think we should watch it and do our research first, because assets are only, from my understanding, roughly 30 years old. So this is a new product within a new product, you know what I'm saying? Because cryptocurrency is not that old. So I think we should watch out for it. But I think because it's so new, we have the opportunity to discover fun things about it and see if we want to get into it. We got BITO, which is ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. Went from 2456 to 2705. The exact same level of assets under management. And it went from $2.08 billion market cap to 2.37. And finally, we have FBTC, which is Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund. Went from $45.32 to $50.09. So that's up a whole $5. And the thing about it is, we're so used to these assets in cryptocurrency themselves having crazy price jumps, but stocks and ETF prices don't really jump that much. So I think this is actually rather impressive. So it went from $4.2 billion assets under management to $4.7 billion asset under management, and $3.9 billion in market cap to $5.25 billion in market cap. So just keeping track of these, I think I'll make an Excel spreadsheet to where we have a better visual to see which things went up and went down week by week, and we'll see where it goes from there. So let's get into the news. We have Yahoo Finance just going over the basic weekly Bitcoin percentage, ups, downs, Ethereum, Solana, up, downs, Tether. So let's just hear how they're talking about Ethereum.
Out in these halvings. So that's going to come in a couple months. But with respect to Ethereum, let me just stick on that for a second, because there is a key upgrade coming March 12th, March 13th called Dencun, D-E-N-C-U-N, and this is going to upgrade the speed of the network, basically going to make it more compatible with some of the upstarts like Solana. And let me just show you a Solana chart. That is real.
So the update they have that they covered was an Ethereum software update. And it's kind of weird because, like, let's say Apple comes out with a product, that's something that they will cover. But are they necessarily covering the new software upgrades that their engineers just put out? Not necessarily. But is that Ethereum's version of that? You know what I'm saying? So I try to take the things from traditional finance and cryptocurrency and try to compare and contrast. Like, is this necessarily a good thing that we're covering all the software upgrades? Because Ethereum at its core, like a lot of these cryptocurrencies, is just software. That's what it is at the end of the day. So I'm trying to figure out, is this a good or a bad thing? At this moment, I'll take it as a good thing that we're covering the Ethereum upgrades and they're talking more and more about it. But it seems kind of deep for the average person to just, understand and talk about on Yahoo Finance. But it is what it is, and that's something that I wanted to cover. I thought it was pretty unique. Let's get into CSNBC. Anthony Scaramucci. We call him Mooch for short. That's what they call him. I don't call him that. I don't know. But we're going to listen to about a minute of what he talks about, because I think it's very interesting, and he covers two big points that I want to cover. So let's go.
But I'll leave you with this thought. If gold is a $16 trillion asset and Bitcoin has a lot of the same properties as gold, and I would make a case that it's better than gold because it's easier to move around, it should trade to at least half of that. It's at that $1 trillion right now. And so that would be an 8x. And again, that's from now until 2030. So I can't predict the near term, Andrew, but this is something that we put on in October of 2020. I've got a lot of railroad tracks on my back as a result of putting this on. I mean, I'm happy to report to you guys that our fund has done very well. I mean, past performance is not indicative of future performance, but the last 18 months for Skybridge have been very good as a result of staying in this. And I think this is a big lesson to investors. If you do the homework, even if you're wrong short term, stay in something, and you'll likely be rewarded if you've got the thing right on fundamentals.
Michael Sell.
Okay, so he hits on 2 points. He hits on he does a price prediction, which is never really good as far as cryptocurrency. You never want to try to do price prediction because nobody knows what's going on. But if you subscribe to the theory that this is something like digital gold, and gold has a market cap of 16 trillion, and Bitcoin currently has a cryptocurrency has 1-something trillion, and it could share some of that market cap, then he's predicting within the next couple of years it could take some of that market cap, which will lead it to higher prices. So I think it's interesting. I think it's a fun perspective to look at it from, and I think we should really try to understand how these financial companies are looking at Bitcoin and what areas they feel like it could share market cap with. So that's one point. Then the second point he hits on was researching something, looking at the fundamentals, and sticking with your conviction. Let me tell you a story. I got into crypto about late 2017, early 2018, and I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum at some very, very decent prices, but I didn't understand how good they were back then. And some things happened, and it went up and it went down, and I ended up selling some Ethereum. And that's one of my biggest regrets. It's not that it went up or went down, it's that I sold. Because if I would have stuck with it, I'd have been very, very happy with what happens today, with the price action that it's at today, because I would have still had it at that very, very low price. So I think he's talking about sticking with your core gut. If you understand the fundamentals of something and you've done the research and you've decided to invest in it, don't worry about the short and the near term. You know what I'm saying? Worry about the long term. And that's the type of respect I treat Bitcoin and cryptocurrency with. I'm looking for projects with staying power, and I feel like this space is in an area where a lot of these things have staying power now. So I'm looking at it for the long term. And one thing I want to get off my chest real quick. People look at you weird if they say you want to stay in cryptocurrency for the long term. Like when you invest in your 401k, that's for what, at least 30 years? You're doing it for the long term. When you buy Apple stock, are you trying to, unless you're a trader, which most people are not, and most people are not good at, are you trying to get out of it next year? Highly likely you're in it for the medium to long term. Why is cryptocurrency any different? That's the way I'm looking at this asset class. But that's my little rant. That's neither here nor there. So we'll move on. Okay, one thing I want to talk about next is when you're doing research on cryptocurrency, know what to watch out for. So this is YouTube, and this will happen on any social media platform, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I want you to watch out for scam comments, because you always want to go down to the comments and see what other people are thinking. So these are 2 separate videos, but let's go down to the comments on both of them. Hit 200K today. Thank you for all the knowledge and nuggets you've been throwing my way. So this user, whatever, is trying to insinuate that they have an account worth 200K. They may do, they may not, but it's probably not real. Thanks for the updates. I'd rather trade the stock market as it's more profitable. I make an average of $30,000 per week. So now you got somebody in the comments claiming they make $30,000 per week. Okay. AXMR20 is easier to manage by the US government, so they have the support of it. Whatever. Just swapped all of my Ethereum and swapped it into AMXR20. So they're telling you get rid of all your good Ethereum and put it into AMX, whatever this is. I don't know if it's a platform or a token, but AMXR20, 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 like clearly there is a marketing campaign for AMX20 to have robots put these comments in the sections. And if you're not aware of that, you'll think, okay, Yahoo Finance, I'm doing some research, or I just came across this video and I keep seeing this thing about AMXR20. Maybe I need to reach out to somebody in here, or these are probably all robots and these are probably scams. All the scam stories we do, if somebody's probably going to get into it, have a story written about it, and you're going to see me reacting to it. Next video, the other video we looked at. ETH has its merit, but AMXR20 has growth potential. AMXR20, you know what I'm saying? So whenever you look up cryptocurrency information, there will be scam bots. And it's not just crypto. If you look up real estate, there'll be scam comments. If you look up Forex, if you look up trading, there will be scam comments. So it's not about the one asset class. It's about having your mindset prepared for people who try to scam, and understanding and being in the game long enough and enough to understand the real information from the separate information. Like Like there are real comments like this. Jamie Dimon hasn't been a lot less correct on Bitcoin. He's been completely wrong. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they talked about that in this video. But you got to be in the game to understand what's real from what's fake. So the last thing I want to touch on is kind of a part 2 to when you're researching cryptocurrency. Let's just go to Google, put in cryptocurrency, and go to the news section. This is something that I do when I want to research cryptocurrency. One thing you'll always notice is there'll always be a million pages about what to buy. They're telling you what to buy. They're telling you the 5 best cryptocurrencies to get in. So let's look at these and try to understand what they really are. So this is watcher.guru, and they're talking about 3 coins to watch under $1 as Bitcoin hits $56. So they're telling you some coins to watch, something you might want to invest in. And remember, none of this is financial advice. Not nothing that I say is financial advice, and you should probably use that disclaimer on anything that you read on here. So they talk about Ripple, Cardano, VeChain. So when it comes to these type of lists and things like that, don't just look at it and be like, oh, Ripple's #1, I should go invest in it. No, use these coins and put them on your watch list. You should have a list. You know what I'm saying? It should never be about it. Now go check that video out about on how to do research on cryptocurrencies. But you need to research these things, read your own information before you just throw your hard-earned money into it, because you may lose out. So this one is talking about the ultimate cryptocurrency to buy with $1,000. And this one only covers Bitcoin. And I think that's a good idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's a good idea to only focus on Bitcoin and then do some research on some other things that you like, and also research Bitcoin before you get into it. But they're not telling you a whole bunch of list of coins. They're kind of saying, you know, you should stick with Bitcoin. And if you watch my videos, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the top 2 that I stick with, not financial advice. And finally, 5 best cryptocurrencies for long-term investments for 2024. So they give a list. The list is Fifthscape, YPredict, Bitcoin, Solana, and Doge. So these last 3 are in the top 11, you know, proven coins, you know what I'm saying? But they have 2 that you've never heard of, that I've never heard of, and maybe you've never heard of before, above these proven coins. So, you know, let's be fair and hear them out, but I'm trying to figure out, why do they have it? And you need to understand that a lot of these stories in the news section, even though they're under news section, they are advertisements. Let me say that again. A lot of these stories are advertisements. So this is an ad piece promoting Fifthscape and YPredict. Now, let's be fair and research these coins, because they may be legit. So let's look up Fifthscape. Let me be fair. So Fivescape. So it's not actually listed on CoinGecko. It's on something called Coin Terminal. So first and foremost, this coin is not even listed on CoinGecko, which is not necessarily a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But let's hear them out. Let's go to Gecko Terminal and see what's up. So the first thing that they're saying is this has a low liquidity pool. The first thing that they're saying about this coin says it has a low liquidity pool. What does low liquidity mean? That means there's not that much money inside of it at all. And anybody with a large amount of money can move it however they so choose. So let's just say one person owns a lot of this coin and they got $100,000 and they want to pump it, and they'll put out this marketing campaign to let everybody know about it. Then they'll put 100,000 into it and say, oh, look, it's pumping, it's pumping. And when everybody gets in, they'll remove all the liquidity, walk off with the bag, and you're holding the bag. You know what I'm saying? You invested in something that went straight down. But, you know what I'm saying, let me be fair and do some more research on it to see if it's legit. Always check up crypto companies' LinkedIn. Always check their LinkedIn. So let's see. Fivescape. Let's see the results. Okay, so they don't necessarily have a page, and I don't see any people that work for them, which is not good. But let's hear them out. There's a post a month ago that mentions it, and you know, they just kind of describe it. There's a post 3 weeks ago about it. They're talking a little bit about it. This post has 1 like, 1 little engagement, 1 like, very little engagement. I'm not saying engagement is everything, but it's something you want to pay attention to. So it doesn't seem like it has a lot going, but let me be fair and check the YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Let's just call a spade a spade. Let's do it. Fifthscape. So we have, so they don't have a YouTube channel, but they have some people reviewing it. Okay, all right. And they're talking about an airdrop. They're talking about a pre-sale. They're doing a price prediction. So no real information on what's going on. They have a YouTube channel. Hold on, let's go. They have a YouTube channel. Okay. Now they only got 3 videos and they got a bunch of subscribers. So, you know, you need to take everything and judge it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying when it comes to this research. So, you know, do that for everything. You know what I'm saying? Understand that this is an advertisement piece. This is not a very good cryptocurrency. I highly recommend that you wouldn't invest in it. None of this is financial advice, but that's just my recommendation. And why predict? If Fifthscape looks like that, why predict probably is the same thing. So I'm going to wrap this video up on that. As always, I appreciate y'all for hollering at me, and we're going to keep rocking and rolling.